This is the fourth section of the DevTools debugging course. This section is about overriding resources. Being able to override resources effectively is a crucial skill that you need to have in order to debug web apps the right way. So we're going to dive into how to override the different HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that is loaded within your web page. So if we go to this web page, here is a live environment. It's just hosted on Netlify. So let's just imagine for a moment that we are working with a live environment and we want to make sure that our changes that are made locally are reflected on the production environment. So for example, if we have any CSS or JavaScript that is loaded locally, we want to test those files, those local changes into our live content in order to better debug and have more control over our CSS and JavaScript. So let's just start off with the HTML part. Let's say that we have this image. Let's just refresh once again to make sure that we have all of our changes. Okay, so let's just say that we have this image and we want to add a height and width attribute to this image in order to give it better accessibility and reduce the layout shift. But we want to test our changes here onto this page to make sure that we are not breaking anything while doing this change. So if you go here to the sources panel, as mentioned in our previous section, this gives us all of the sources that are loaded within the page. So we are interested into modifying this basic index.html, which is the basic file that is loaded from the server. So if we try here to modify anything, for example, let's add the height here. If we try to write anything, you can see that your changes are not actually made or modified. So in order to modify this HTML file, first we need to enable what is called the local override. So this section allows us to basically just override any network request and web content locally to mock remote resources. It's just like a way for us in order to mock any requests that are made from the server. So we want to save this file locally and then make our changes to it and then load this local file or more local mock. So first off, you need to select a folder for the overrides. If you click that, you can just basically select any folder. So here we have this overrides folder. You click open and then it will request full access to this folder. It basically just tells like DevTools to make any changes to this local device directory. So just click allow and then we have this overrides folder that we've just defined. So this folder contains all of our local overrides. If we go here, let's just click refresh once again. If we go here, try to make our changes into this index.html, let's just add this height 400 and another width of 400. If we try now to save this file, so we just hit Control S, we can see here that there is a little purple symbol beside the file. So this just indicates that this index.html that is served from the server itself is now linked to this local directory. So if we go to our local directory, so if we just try to locate this file, so it's just here. So here is the folder that we've just defined. So here's the overrides, and now we can see here that there is this directory which has the name of the site. If we go to it, we can see here that we have this index.html file. So the server file got saved locally for us. So this contains our new changes. So if we just open this file to see what it has basically if we open it with any text editor. So here we can see that we have the original index.html file, and also we have the height and width attributes that we've just defined. So now the DevTools will start reading from this file instead of the server file. Okay, let's just get back into the Chrome. Okay, so if we just hit refresh once again, we can see that the aspect ratio is now broken and the height and width are added to the image. So we want to fix that aspect ratio. In order to do that, we need to add height auto from the CSS in order to make sure that we are setting the proper height to the image. So in order to override the CSS files that we have from our local environment into this production environment, what we can do is that we can just point to the local CSS files that we have instead of the server served one. So if we get back here to the index.html, we can see here that we have a link tag which points to the main build.css that is built from our SAS files that we have locally. So in order to replace this with a local one, we can just delete this and then try to select the build.css that is served from our local environment. So let's say that we have a running local development environment, and we are just running it into the local host into this port, and it has this build.css. So just try to save this. We hit refresh. Now let's go to our code base. So here is our code base. We are running it into this port. So as you can see here, it's running into this 5500. And now we can just make our change here. So we just try to change it locally, and then you can see here that the main.css, which is this file that has this card component, is now compiled to this released assets build, which is this file basically, as you can see here. Okay, so now let's just test our changes. We just hit refresh once again. We can see here that the aspect ratio issue has been resolved. As you can see here, the height is now set to auto. Okay, so having to override this our assets using this way, like by manually trying to locate the file and then just replace the index file with whatever URL that you want, is although it's powerful, but it might sometimes be bothersome. So we have another method that we can easily override the resources that we have on the page without having to write them manually. So let's just for now disable this local overrides, and then we hit refresh. Okay, and then so the method is that we can utilize a Chrome extension called resource override. So this extension allows us to basically redirect any URL that we have into another URL. So you can just basically select any URL, not just a local one. Even if you want to take a URL from another place on the web, you can do that as well. So in order to use it, first you need to modify the tab URL, which is a star. So basically it tells you that you want to select all of the tabs that you have on the browser. So first we need to add a rule. So you just click add rule, click URL into URL. So here you can choose the from URL. We are interested into the build.css. So if you just write build, it will highlight the resource that you want. So just click on it, and then you would want to select the URL that you want to replace into. So if we just paste this released asset local build.css make sure that you have this turned on, and then you would want to hard reload this. So you just keep holding into the refresh and then just check this or select this empty cache and hard reload. So after checking this, you can see that the local changes of the height is now applied. So this was the CSS. How about the JavaScript? Can we do that as well? So yes, we can do, of course. So let's say that we have this bug, we have this image that has this filter class, and this filter class is added from JavaScript, and it's causing the image to be grayscaled. Let's say that we don't want that, and it's just a bug from our code, and we want to remove that addition of that filter class. So we can do the same here by overriding the local JavaScript. So here we have this main.module.js, which has all of our JavaScript loaded into the website. We would want to override this server served main.module.js from to override it and use our local main.module.js file. In order to do that, we can just get back here into the override section. We add a new rule URL into URL, and then we just search for this main.module that we want to override. We can just here write the name of the file that we would want to override. So this is now, I don't think that we need to point to the release asset. Is just served here into our root directory. So now if we go into our code base, so here we have this main.module.js. If we go to it, this just loads the card component that has this bug. So if we go into the card module, so here it adds this filter class to it. So we don't want that. We can just try to remove that line, and we hit save. Let's get back into the Chrome and just try to reload this to see if this works. Yeah, we can see here that the filter class is no longer added to our image, and the issue got resolved. Okay, so let's say that I have an issue with a third-party script that is loaded into the page, and I want to debug that script. Let's say, for example, that if we go here into the head, we have this assets.adobe third-party script. Let's say that I want to debug an issue with it, just to see from where it's coming from, or to test some stuff from my code, like if it has any conflicts or something like that. So I can just locate that file. So if we go to the sources, we hit Control P, try to find that file that we want, which is this one. So if you go here into the override section and you enable the local overrides, you can basically, as mentioned before, you can override any file that is loaded from the page itself. So here it highlights the launch, which is under the Adobe root, let's say, or URL or domain. We can here just try to add an alert just to demonstrate that we can do so. If we go here, just write alert. This is coming from a third-party script. We hit save. Now we can see that it's loaded from our local device instead of the server. So you just hit refresh. You can see here that we have this alert showing up, and we have successfully overridden this third-party script. Okay, one last note to mention. It's better to just delete whatever changes that you've made from your local overrides after you've finished with your work. This is a common issue that the developers who work with this tool might face, which is that as long as you are enabling this local overrides, you are reading from these resources. You are not reading from the server itself. So if you make the changes now and then like a month later you just get back into this website, you are enabling the DevTools, you will see that it will still read from this file after you've like finished with your session or whatever, and like you will have some unexpected bugs, or you wouldn't know that it's actually loading from a local environment instead of the actual server. So it's just better to delete whatever changes that you've made after you have just done with whatever you would want to do. So that was it from the first section. Next we'll be looking into how to use this workspace, which is a pretty powerful feature that is giving to us from the DevTools.